别废了。
还出来打酱油的那种。
好，我们现在看到的是 KDA 的排行榜 ，KDA 也就是击杀加上助攻，然后再除以他的死亡，这应该说是自己的一个效率效率值的一个排行。排名第一的依然是徐志雷，来自于我们的大 D 神；第二名依然是陈赞良，来自我们的 X。第三名谢俊豪 ，Super， 来自于我们迪克战队的 Super。我们看到啊，这整个排行榜，你注意到没有 ？KDA 排行榜前10位选手，前8位选手全部是来自于我们迪克战队和 Orange 战队。
也就是说，为什么这2个他能够在上周能够拿到这么好的名次，也是由于他们之前不是这个小组排名嘛，就是第1和第2。
对，他们的状态都非常的好，个人的数据也非常的不错。好，我们现在看到的是来自于我们双方战队的这个数值的对比。整体而言的话，似乎Orange战队会更加均衡一点，局长。
对，
这个强的特别强，
战术多样化。
战术多样性是可以的，但是你要驾驭得住，对吧？
你要说战术多样性，那肯定是那个罗岛队伍那个战术太多了，
是吧？没有哪个队伍能够跟他相比，对不对？
冈贝都啊，什么大树啊，都莫名其妙给你来一把。
人家叫罗岛嘛。
是叫罗岛啊，人家叫。
就是因为这个原因。
冈贝兽也是在我们本次比赛上由热刺的那个战队率先使用。
对。
那打冈贝兽不是出个魔棒魔杖就可以了吗？
是很厉害，但是确实也是有他致命的缺点，对吧？
输出没有什么爆发啊。
他没有瞬间的爆发，他需要队友去要磨。
确实7、8版本的话，冈贝也是被加强了。
好，我们现在看到的是来自于我们 RS 战队的个人资料。
ICY 王鹏。场均击杀是3.1，场均助攻是4.6，场均死亡4，KDA 是1.9。
作为一个开瑞来说的话，他这个 KDA 确实是有点偏低了，就是这样的一个 KDA。
主要是死的太多。我们在之前的比赛当中确实可以看到了 ICY 经常被抓，这一点需要得到极大的改进。
张志成国士无
双，场均击杀3.4，场均助攻6.5，场均死亡3，KDA 3.3。
最近使用大树。蝙蝠还有那个
冈贝，
这是冈贝。
冈贝和你。好，
这2个头都长得一样，
有一点像。罗英奇，我们的罗岛，场均击杀3，场均助攻6.8，场均死亡3.6。最近使用的英雄是龙骑士、末日还有炼金。之前Orange也是说我们在研究他们经常使用的英雄，我觉得炼金应该是他们要特别注意的一点。
我觉得他很多英雄都长得很像，像 CK 和斧王，我觉得长得挺像的，2个头。
CK 跟斧王是吧？
也很像，其实你不细看的话，
要稍微分辨一下，好，这是来自RS战队的卡布赵凯，场均击杀2.3，场均助攻是6，场均死亡4.5，数据不是特别的发亮，但是我们看到他的位置经常的改变，在最近一场比赛当中，他居然使用 TA 去打1号位
，1、2、3，他是属于那个1、2、4嘛，1、3、4或者。
对，
这位置比较多。
给我们的感觉好像是一个人去打了中锋，又去打了这个后卫。这是来自于 Neo， 李果，他现在的 ID 改成了 SAGM， 这个经常改 ID 确实不是一个很好的习惯，不太。
还好我们都认识他。
就不太利于观众去对他认识吧。好，场均击杀2.4，场均助攻5.1，场均死亡4.1，KDI 是1.8。最近使用的英雄还是偏4、5号位的一个英雄。
光法死云龙加Silence。
是的。那么Rattlesnake战队呢，他们之前是拿到了 TI3的资格，那么这样一来的话，应该说他们现在是很有动力去训练才对。我们感觉似乎稍微有一点点的问题，最近的状态。
我觉得他们这支战队本来就是一个起伏不定的一个战队。他们打 TI3 打出名额的时候也是比较惊险的2-1战胜了 VG 战队。
对。
我觉得他们不太稳定是他们一个最大的一个问题。
现在看到的是 Orange 战队的个人资料，来自于我们的大牧师蔡怡峰，场均击杀6，场均助攻11.4，场均死亡2.2，KDA 7.9。最近使用的英雄中单的上。
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for some more Dota 2 Super League action. It's going to be Rattlesnake versus Orange Esports. Best of 3. Orange Esports sitting pretty, 2-0 in the group. Rattlesnake, not so much. They're 0-3. They might end up just getting swept. I'm LD. I'm joined here by Lumi. Lumi, draft now underway. What do you think about this match?
I think the match will depend on Extinct, what hero he's going to be getting. Extinct kind of, so far, been the MVP for Orange Esport, and that's not something you hear too much because Mushi, for example, Ohio, KYXY, these are the players that gets a lot of attention because they get a lot of farm, they get a lot of kills.
Yeah, and they're sort of your flashy, explosive players.
Yeah, especially the way that Orange and another C team like to play. They really like to put a ton of farms on these 3 carries, and then very little farm and experience in the 2 support. But to me, the support has been the big playmakers for Orange Esport. Earlier, I think DSL showed a very interesting statistic of KDL, and KDR. I don't really care about KDR that much because it just depends on who gets the most farm, who gets the most kill. Unsurprisingly, Burning was on the top of the chart with like 13 KDR per game.
Yeah, DK's 3-0 in the group, looking pretty.
Right. The next highest, surprisingly, was Extinct, 11 KDR per game.
Wow.
And that goes back to the Visage that he's been playing, that he's completely decimating everybody. Visage currently in the pool, and Orange Esport like to either pick up Gyrocopter or Nyx Assassin first. And in fact, they're going to go with Bat Rider this game because that's also one of the more imbalanced hero. But if Rattlesnake don't pick up Visage right now, Orange Esport will happily gobble it up.
Yeah, let's see what they go for. Now, the one interesting point to be made here is last week when we had some games for the Dota 2 Super League, we had a bit of a hiatus. But before that, 6.78 came out. Thing was, patch came out right after G1 League. The teams really didn't have time to train or practice. They just jumped straight into the patch. So I was going to say, well, maybe they've had some more time to experiment, to come up with new strategies. Maybe we'll see something different like we've been seeing a lot of in the Western scene. But off the bat, you get your standard Chinese flavors of the month, or not even flavors. I feel Visage might be here to stay, but Visage and Clockwork both picked up, and rather early at that. Now, Clockwork, one of the stronger ways to deal with a Bat Rider, simply because when he fireflies in, he has to worry about the cogs, gets bounced around a lot. Obviously, Battery Assault makes it hard to stay near the Clockwork, and just generally a difficult hero to kill. So a decent way to deal with Bat Rider. Consider the Nyx has been out, one of the other main counters, but they're giving Orange Esports a lot of their favorite heroes. Now they'll pick up the Shadow Demon, and we'll see where they go with this next set of picks. But of course, before that, we do have some bans.
Yeah, actually, Visage has been kind of, like you said, not exactly favorite of the month, but he really popped out during the Eastern scene. He kind of took a couple of categories in the compendium. Yeah. I think nobody actually expected that. But in terms of the particular matchup here, I think he matches up quite decently against Bat Rider. Until Bat Rider gets that Force Staff, both the Familiars as well as the long cast range of the Grave Chill could actually kind of slow him down and maybe even kill him before he successfully drags somebody out. Very interesting Slark ban here. I don't personally see Slark being picked up or banned up this early, especially in the Asian scene, but seems like Orange Esport is really giving that hero a lot of credit.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've seen that Rattlesnake aren't afraid to run this hero. I think they've run it at least once or twice before, and it's also just a great way to deal with Bat Rider because, of course, you can use the Dark Pact to debuff Lasso and Sticky Napalm as well, and Elusive does a lot of damage, can also just ruin a Bat Rider in the fight. If he just jumps in and latches onto him, then you can't pull anyone away. You're just kind of trapped there, taking a lot of damage, dropping quickly. So I think it's a smart ban just to ensure Bat Rider has an easier time getting his game going, but they'll ban out a Treant. Now, this is something a little bit unusual because we've seen a lot of tree plays, particularly out of DD Dota in the Western scene, but this hero has not been picked at all, really, in Asia. Maybe once or twice, but barely at all, and we'll see him banned out now.
Yeah, I mean, they have heroes that deals very well with Tree Firefly, as well as the Poison Spam from Shadow Demon doesn't care too much about Tree, but at the same time, there's so much of the early game offense is based on 2 supports roaming to lane and then setting up a kill. Against a Tree and Protector, that's like impossible. So
Good luck.
Yeah, you know, I guess it's
especially when it's Clockwork and Visage. We're already very hard to kill.
I mean, if you look at Rattlesnake's team right now, it is so damn hard to actually get a kill, right? Clockwork, Cogs is hard to get a kill against. Visage, the fact that he's so long range, so he can stay always back, and Gravekeeper Cloak makes him very tanky, and of course Spectre would his natural built tank and the fact that he has Dispersion, it's hard to actually find a kill against this entire team.
You know, Lumi, breaking this draft down a little more, we look at the bans for Rattlesnake, and at least 3 of these clearly directed at Mushi. The Gyrocopter is something he's taken solo mid a lot, even KYXY occasionally to the safe lane, but often it's Mushi mid. The OD ban, direct respect ban towards Mushi, and now Aquita Pain ban as well. So lots of Mushi heroes off the board, but that solo mid Sand King, something that we've seen from him in the past, are we going to see it again here today?
I think it depends on the matchup. If you don't give him an easy mid lane against a melee hero, I don't think it's a free roll. Last time we saw a DK versus Sandking matchup, and Sandking just got caustic finale.
That's a hard lane for DK.
Right. So we'll see. Maybe we'll still see a solo mid Sandking, but it's only good against certain selected heroes. Also about the bans from Rattlesnake is that they're all burst damage output. And again, that goes back to how tanky the Rattlesnake team is. If you don't actually burst everybody down, chances are you're going to lose a war of attrition. Soul Assumption every 4 seconds, Clockwork providing vision, and Spectre chasing people down. They could actually complement the team with a Doombringer pick or something like that, and suddenly you have 4 very difficult to kill heroes. Orange Esports doesn't have too much burst damage aside from a Sandking ultimate, and you don't really plan to have that channeled every team fight.
Yeah, what are they going to go for to get that burst? Because heroes like OD, Queen of Pain, the Gyro, these are some of the staple heroes that Orange will turn to for that burst damage.
And Visage.
Yeah, and Visage, of course, as well, who is selected by Rattlesnake. They'll go back for Rubik, and already having a lot of damage on their other heroes, they go for a support that gives them great setup. Also is fantastic against Batrider. If he jumps in, you just lift him up and you allow your team to disengage. And Sand King, if you can steal Burrow Strike. And Lone Druid, a hero that at times has just been automatic first pick material, in fact was for ages, has kind of fallen off, but we'll see him as the 4th pick, and maybe Orange get a bargain here with that.
Well, I mean, Orange Esports, when they like to play the Lone Druid, they basically sacrifice him. He throws him on the long lane, I think. Ohio? No,
you're thinking of the Prophet, actually. The Lone Druid sometimes even goes mid for KYXY.
Okay. Yeah, well, it depends.
They're pretty versatile.
Yeah, there's some games that they just sack it. Some other games they dedicate him a little bit. But I expect him to be somewhat sacrificed. This particular game, it depends on what the last pickup is. So far, the Shadow Demon Sandking dual roam is pretty good. But going back to the Rubik pick, I think they just want a quick way to disable the Batrider. It's a telekinesis that's instant cast. And even against the turn rate slowdown, that is Sticky Napalm. If he blinks in and you can quickly kind of disengage with lift, it's not that bad. So
it's a very strong defensive team. Rattlesnake, you look at them, they're pretty well rounded. They obviously have the burst of Soul Assumption, Cogs, Battery Assault, some decent damage, and then things like Spectres, Desolate. And now they add Rubik, a hero that can allow them to disengage. So an elusive team, a team that can basically choose when they want to take fights. They have the global, the semi-global ultimate with the hook, the rocket, which is global, the haunt, which is global, the long range of Soul Assumption, and now X and Torrent. So Rattlesnake, the one thing I really say when I look at their team is they can just choose when they want to fight because they have long range and they're hard to kill, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, Kunkka, really the flavor of the month, right? Because back in the Eastern qualifier, he was constantly first picked. And now it seems like maybe this is more correct in terms of the pick order. They have great lanes as well because Clockwork as a long lane solo, great. And of course this particular tri-lane Visage, Rubik, and Spectre, just so much killing power. You don't expect a lot of killing power out of a Spectre tri-lane, but with a Visage Bird, it's always very easy to pick up some kills. And of course Kunkka solo mid, it's actually hard to win a lane against this particular hero, even if you put a Bat on it. I think Bat will eventually win the lane, but Kunkka does pretty fine on his own. Yeah,
I mean, Batrider should probably win the lane, like you said, but Kunkka can just kind of spam Torrent, go in there every now and then for a Tidebringer, and really shouldn't die. He is quite tanky, and of course you always have X to send the Batrider back, which we've seen a lot of the Kunkka players, they aren't necessarily maxing Torrent in the cleave first. They'll actually go for at least 1, if not 2 points in X by level 7 or 8, so he'll have that to disengage as well. They'll go for the Ohio Windrunner, a hero that Orange has been running a lot of. They really enjoy this tri-lane Windrunner. One of the big benefits is you can roam. When you have an off-lane Windrunner, she doesn't need that much help. And when you have Sand King Shadow Demon, you would love to roam. So I really like this pick from Orange.
It just makes sense. Supports on Orange Esports love to roam all of the map, with smokes or not. And then once you get off the lane, you want your support heroes, or you want your solo heroes like the Batrider, like the Windrunner, and like the Lone Druid to be fine. And these are very, very good solo heroes. We're going to see a solo mid bad, and when is the last time we've seen some solo mid bad?
You know, I actually don't know if I've ever seen Mushi play Batrider. As fantastic, as an explosive of a solo mid as he is, we normally see him on heroes that do sort of a more DPS type solos, like Queen of Pain, Templar Assassin, Gyrocopter. I'm very interested to see his Batrider, because I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, for the bats, or for the solo mid that we see him play, it's the one that snowballs. Like for example, a Puck or Queen of Pain that gets the double kill in team fight, and suddenly he's up with Blink Dagger, for example. For Batrider, you can still do it, but it's a lot less explosive, and it's a lot more initiation based. So his plan is to jump in and grab somebody and isolate basically every Batrider's game plan. But we'll talk about that later. Orange Esports on the Radiant side, they're 3-0, I want to say, or 2-0.
2-0,
so
looking
far.
to be 3-0 here
Yeah,
today.
looking to be 3-0 in the D2L, or DSL.
D2SL, Dota 2 Super League.
That's another tournament. But yeah, Mushi's going to be playing the Bat Rider, most likely solo mid. Extinct's going to be playing Sandking. We have KYXY playing most likely off-lane Lone Druid. We have Net playing the Shadow Demon, and last but not least, Ohio playing that Windrunner.
I actually think it might be a safe lane Lone Druid because they just have a very strong offensive tri lane. But on RNG Sports, like you said, these boys, they're 2-0. They're looking good. If they win this best of 3, they'll be 3-0 in the group, and that will set up an amazing final match for the group stages of the Dota 2 Super League, the biggest prize pool outside of the International 3. Well, although I say that, things have changed with Nexon's announcement, but until we hear more about their league, I'll pretend like it doesn't exist. For now, the biggest tournament by far in China, Rattlesnake 0-3 right now. They just want to get a win on the board. They're already mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but hopefully they can salvage their pride here today. They are going to the International 3, and so every bit of courage they can muster will be much needed in the coming days and months. Luo on the Rubik. We'll have Sagam playing the Visage. Kabu on the carry Spectre. So the role switch continues here, and he'll be taking over for that. Lamb on the Kunkka, and last but not least, it will be an offlane Icy handling the Clockwork.
Yep. Icy's going to have a 1v1 matchup against Lone Druid. That matchup's going to be very, very difficult for him. I expect Lone Druid to take this lane. You could actually maybe get a kill if you're very good. Like, walk up to him, cog him, and then use Battery Assault. But it looks like he's got Rocket Flare first as his first spell, so we probably won't expect a kill early on. Meanwhile, in this tri-lane versus tri-lane, hard to actually say who has the advantage because on one side you have Visage, but on the other you have two very good harassers in the form of Windrunner and Shadow Demon.
I think Rattlesnake is just not quite as strong at level 1. You look at RNG Sports, and Shadow Demon plus Sand King, such a good initiating combo. If they can find some early kills here, that could come into play. And the reason I bring it up is they've actually managed to block off both camps because they had an Illusion Rune. So keep your eyes on Orange, on the early levels especially. They may be able to pull ahead in this tri-lane. But towards the mid lane, it will be Mushi on the Bat Rider solo mid against the Kunkka of Lamb, probably the most versatile player, well, certainly on the team and one of the most in China, but hasn't quite been explosive like he was earlier in the Eastern qualifiers, has slowed down as of late. They'll be looking for him to have a big impact. And then, as you expected, Lumi, that safe lane just not going to go well for Rattlesnake. That's going to be absolute free farm for the Lone Druid. So it puts a lot of pressure on their tri-lane to do pretty well here.
Yeah, the mid lane is going to be very hard for Lamb as well because exactly how you see Mushi's actually playing it. Firefly just right off the bat for level 2. He's not going for any kills.
Oh, we'll have an engagement top. Net gets lifted up, pulled back in. He's going to start taking a lot of damage. Soul Assumption is there. He's not able to dodge it with the disruption, and Net is probably, certainly going to give up a first blood. My goodness. Really out of position there, and great reaction by Rattlesnake.
Well, that's the tri-lane one, right? Generally, when you get a kill like that as a safe lane, you get to pull. The enemy doesn't really have too much option. I guess they still could pull this camp to the left, but you can see that the Dire team is already taking care of that as Luo gets hit by the creep and now gets a pull successfully. So that is a very needed kill, first blood for the Dire team, because you expect them to lose both the mid and bot lanes.
You know, Lumi, I just want to point out real quickly, Mushi's been very efficient solo mid. He actually managed to stack the big camp while also controlling the runes, which he just gets one now, and he's only missed a handful of creeps, so playing quite well on the solo mid Bat Rider, despite never having at least shown it when I've cast him before. Looking forward to see what he can do from here. CS isn't the best, but with these camp stacks, he may pull ahead, and well, for the time being, I see us slightly behind Lamb, but I think that's an okay trade when you're getting the big camp stack.
Yeah, I actually am a little bit surprised that he roamed off the lane. He's now half a level behind because he's actually winning the lane so hard. Just on the hero matchup alone, I thought he was going to stay and continue to dominate, but he gave Lamb a little bit of breathing room, and Lamb's not a player that you want to give him that breathing room.
He's going to engage now. No, just Firefly and the creep wave.
Yeah, it just prevents a melee hero to actually from walking into lane, which is not a bad way to deal with him.
Now he's got Flame Break, but Lamb's a little low level. Mushi probably glad that he didn't push him back in there. And, well, we'll see Rattlesnake continue to try and pull. They still only have level 1 on their Visage. Level 2 now secured on the Rubik. So for both tri-lanes, they are a little bit starved here for levels and farm. Orange actually thinking about an engage. They might go in, not just yet. I felt like they could have had a kill there on Luo. Spectre's not going to do a whole lot in that situation, but they decided to play it safe.
Yeah, it's a level 1 Burrow Strike, so the initiation range is quite short.
Very true.
Yeah, and if you don't kill Visage right from the get-go, he will kill you faster than you kill him.
Mushi going in on Lamb again mid. He's got 2 stacks of Napalm up. Nope, won't commit.
It's just a ton of harassment on the mid lane. I don't expect a kill to be happening because Lamb does have that 10 charge on the Magic Stick. It's very difficult to go kind of all in against him. So
yeah, that's a good point. And also doing quite a bit of bottle crowing, it looks like. Or actually, sorry, doesn't have a bottle yet. Just went straight for the boots, and well, he'll be relying on the stick charges then. So I'd like to see him pop them since there's no There's no regen coming otherwise, but KYXY, 23-9 in this bottom lane. You do expect Clockwork to lose, but even though Orange gives up the first blood top, I think they're still in good shape, just because their Lone Druid is dominating this bottom lane ridiculously hard.
Yeah, and IC's going to have a tough time, too. Generally, as a Clockwork player, you hit level 6, and you say, all right, man, I'm going to leave the lane. I got my quick level 6. Let's set up some kills on the other side of the map. It's probably what he's going to end up doing, but at the same time, KYXY says, if you leave the lane, I'm going to push down your tier 1 tower, and that's generally not what you want to give up against a Lone Druid. Sure, he doesn't have that armlet build anymore, but if you give him any easy snowball, which he already has an easy lane, he's going to just dominate you mid with things like Maelstrom into Radiance, which is the build that I assume that he's going to be going for this game.
Yeah, this is a game where he definitely needs to build more as the hard carry. You have Windrunner, she'll take over the utility items, so things like the mech, the arcane boots, we can expect to see. Well, Ohio's actually gone phase, but certainly the mech, some utility for the team. Force Staff even will be an option for him. Mushi's obviously going to go Blink. He'll be the initiator, but it really is going to be up to KYXY to do all the heavy lifting in terms of just raw physical damage as the game drags on. Top lane, no engagements yet. It's been very passive for both teams, and, well, Ohio chipping away. He is getting the most farm in this tri-lane, despite the early first blood, and really putting the pain and the harassment onto the support. So RNG Sports will take a look at the gold graph now.
Top
lane, as soon as we check, they're going in. Disruption, Burrow Strike, and Power Shot all follow through. Sagam completely caught out and picked off with these. And the early phase boots pick up on Ohio coming into play now. The chase onto Luo. Another Burrow Strike could spell his doom. He gets shackled. He gets burrowed. He's dropping low. Power Shot's there as well. Even with the stick charges, it won't be enough. Down he goes. Now Kabu tries to fight his way out. He's isolated net. He'll bring him down with the Desolate. And when it's all said and done, well, we'll see a couple bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who actually came out ahead there. Obviously, it was 2 kills on the Radiant side, 1 kill on Dire, but your Spectre got the solo kill EXP and the actual kill, so he's almost hitting level 6. I think once you do get level 6 on Spectre, suddenly the lanes on the mid and bot gets a lot easier. Hasteman on the mid lane looks like he's going to go right in. No flame break. I'm very surprised. If you get pushing back, he's dead. He's only got 3 wand charges.
Yeah, it seems like the team maybe had a bit of a dispute there about what they wanted to do, because Net teleports to the mid lane, so generally assume it's going to be a gank. We'll actually see an invis room bottled up by Icy, but you see the Shadow Demon TP mid, you're thinking, okay, we want to go fight, but Mushi, well, he just fireflies the wave and pushes the lane out, which means you're much less likely to get that kill. Still lurking around mid is Net, but now it's pretty damn obvious he's missing.
Yeah, looking at this particular matchup again, re-evaluating it, Kunkka's actually not that bad against Batrider because, oh, maybe Shadow Demon's going to come in with Disruption. Here we go. The Firefly is going to be on top, and of course, there's going to be a Flame Break, and Lasso on top as well. Lamb is so dead. Just as was saying that the matchup is not that bad, Lamb's going to give him a kill. And the reason I don't think it's that bad is because Typebringer gives you a ton of damage. More importantly, he pushes the lane.
Well, top lane, we're going to see Luo rotating around, looking to go on Extinct. He'll find him now, but who's the one who's caught here? It's actually going to be Ohio. Eats the Soul Assumption of the face. Shackle will not last, but now he wind runs away, and with the phase boots, it's going to be enough. It really is the beauty of this offlane Windrunner, is you can move the supports around, and she doesn't die, unlike a lot of other offlaners.
She doesn't die as easily.
Yeah, she can die, but
right.
not to a Spectre tri-lane.
Right.
They just don't have the lockdown.
Speaking of Spectre, actually gone for treads. This is something that we don't see too often. Most of the time, it's always phase boot to kind of help her last it and move in and out of team fight and chase people down, but maybe just a little bit more worry about HP. She's teleporting back right from level 6. I think we're going to see a Hunt gank coming out to the bot lane.
Now, who are you going to go on? That's the big question.
Bot lane, I think. Well, they have one person already here in the form of Lamb. They already have Clockwork, and I think they're making it go right now.
Oh, they're going to go with, there's the hook. Icy catches KYXY under the tower, but the bear is just ruining him. The backup isn't here. Icy, oh man, he's going to get netted up and brought down under the tower. Sorry, not netted up, but rooted up. And, well, Lamb throws in a boat. Sure, they end up getting a kill on the Shadow Demon, but was that really worth it? Trading the Clockwork, feeding the Lone Druid, and not killing him. Gotta say, probably not, Lumi.
Yeah, even though Shadow Demon died there, I'm going to say that was really the power of Shadow Demon. They noticed him TPing in, and if they kept going for the kill on the bear, they would not have got any.
Top
and they would have died.
They're going to go in on Luo.
Strike, Power Shot, Shackle Shot. Here comes the Han, a really close range Han, but they're going to burst down Extinct, or at least try to do so. Windrunner is going to get the kill and get the hell out. Extinct, Burrow Strike to the low ground. I think, the pathing not really helping out. Also on cooldown as well. They get a 1-for-1 trade. I think if you're the Spectre team, you're happy because he's almost level 7. We're in he's facing against an offensive tri-lane. His farm's not that good, but his kill and experience gain is really, really good.
Yeah, and, the one thing is the way Spectres are building nowadays, they don't really need as much farm as they used to. You go for things like Phase, Yasha, Vitality Booster, Diffusal Blade, Drums. You're not building your Radiance. You're not rushing a big, expensive item. So to some extent, I do feel Spectre can kind of get away with that. Also, Lumi, the other consideration is their team is just so good at finding pickoffs. With X marks the spot, Torrent follow-up, Hook, Rocket, they'll burst damage of Soul Assumption. Spectre doesn't really have to shoulder the full burden, not until much later on, so, well, maybe he can get away. But that being said, the farm is really poor. 30 CS, 9 minutes in. This is the whole point of the tri-lane Windrunner in the aggressive position is just prevent the enemy team from farming kills. I feel for Orange were just a bonus in this laning stage. All they really cared about was not feeding and slowing down the Spectre's farm, and so far, they've done it.
Yeah, and looks like it's going to be continuing to do so as Batrider picks up a Blink Dagger. One of the earliest Blink, 9.5 minutes with Boots, Bottle, and Blink. And it looks like we're going to see a gank attempt on the mid lane. Luo thinks he's getting some free XP, but the CXP is going to come at a cost. Mushi could come on the right side, like right here, and then Firefly over, and that's exactly what he's doing.
It's nighttime. It's very hard to spot this one coming, but Luo, way behind the tower, actually going to be absolutely okay.
He had no vision at all. That was just good map awareness.
Yeah, we'll see that I'm actually not logged out of Steam, friends. That production value in action. Well, we fixed that one now. Sorry about the notifications, guys, but we'll see a double damager in spawn top. And Lumi, that's a big deal that Mushi didn't find that kill. Not just because they missed the kill, but now the jig is up, and Rattlesnake know he has that really fast blink. So they can play more defensively. Let's see if that'll keep them safe. They're going to smoke up top lane. Extinct, Mushi, and Ohio. 3 peas in a pod. I don't know if pods can have 3, but they do now. Smoking up, heading towards the top lane, and looking for a kill on Kabu. I love how they're ganking the Spectre's lane because he can't haunt to counter gank. He'll be the one who's on the defensive running for his life.
So he says, Neo, you stay in the front. I'll counter gank for you, sort of.
Take the bullet for me. Secret Service member SAGM in the house.
And that's why he's going for power treads. He just needs the extra HP to survive. Once you do survive, though, you can, for example, TP back home, which he doesn't have a TP score right now. And then you can hunt back in and do a lot more work. But it is so hard to actually survive against the... Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Mushi's going to Firefly in. Look for the blink. Jumps in. Grabs Kabu. The ideal target if you can burst him down. The burrow's there. There's no follow-up just yet. He does go down, though. Spectre dying. Not a good start for him. He's been dying and not farming well. The boat comes in. Extinct will get blown up, but a Spectre for a Sandgate. I will take that trade any day. They want Icy. They're going to find him. Mushi's joined the party as well. He'll blink away. Icy's going to fall. Ohio on a killing spree, and Mushi not done yet. Stacking the napalm, looking for Sagam. Will he die for the extra kill? Not just yet, but the potential is there, and that's exactly what they want. They kill the Spectre, they draw Rattlesnake towards the top lane, and Lone Druid pushes bottom and farms freely.
Yeah, just as expected early on. Shaco shot on the top lane against Lamb as well. No, not much mana left on the Orange Esports, so they can't really kind of follow up that Shaco shot.
Oh, they're actually going in on Ohio? Nope, just an X.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you expect out of the Lone Druid. You win the solo lane, and of course, Clockwork loves to actually go gank after level 6. He just will get punished if he gets ganked, even though he was helping out the other side of the map. Look at that tier 1 tower on the bot lane. It's almost going to get brought down. Anytime that you don't put attention to Lone Druid, he will just make you regret.
You know, I'm not sure how well these role switches are working for Rattlesnake. Kabu not getting farm on the carry Spectre. Luo trotting around, just picked up his boots at 12 minutes into the game on a safe lane support Rubik. That's pretty just atrocious. Not to say he's playing poorly, but it's not a situation you want to be in. And, well, KYXY farming freely. What has he picked up for himself now? Actually, a Clarity Potion. Not a pickup you see often on Lone Druid, but it'll ensure that he can continue to use those Tranquil Boots and stay in the lane. And, well, they may be looking for a kill here mid. Extinct sitting in the lane. More importantly, though, it's Mushi lurking on the high ground. So far, the Blink Dagger, hasn't been as effective as you might think. It was a really fast blink. I think we saw there, George, our stats guy, 4 minutes faster than the average, but he's only really had one successful kill with it.
I mean, it got a Spectre kill, who's kind of been...
that's fair, but now he's level 9. He's falling behind the Kunkka. Is it enough?
I think a lot of the effect of a Blink Dagger or Batrider, it's not shown on the stats. It's keeping the guys back on the Rattlesnake side. They're not farming as aggressively. It's actually harder to set up ganks now because you have no idea where that bat is. It's not always showing up on the scoreboard, and it looks like, well, he wants to put himself on the scoreboard. He's hunting on the top lane, making it look at Kabu. He's playing so defensive because he doesn't see the bat on the map and he's not farming. So a lot of that, for example, 46 CS is because there's a bat on the blink.
Again, there's two reasons why I love the fact that they're putting pressure on the top lane. The first, as I mentioned, is if you gank Spectre, he can't haunt to counter gank. The other, well, you might see Mushi going now. Tower's going to drop bottom lane. KYXY able to pick that up, and Mushi just waiting to pounce. But we're going to see some familiars fly in, and they've spotted him out. So Mushi, he'll have to hoof his way out of here. Well, flap his way out anyway. Nope, bottom lane. Looks like they find Icy. No engagement top whatsoever. Looks like it's happening now, but Lamb, well, what can he do? Not enough. Mushi's jumping in. Latches up onto Sagan, but the Spectre haunt is there. The neutral creeps joining the party. party. Is it going to be enough? Sagam dropping low, not dead yet, able to live through it all with about 80 HP. He does get out in the end while that was happening. Shadow Demon dies bottom. KYXY going to hit the dirt as well. So the Spectre ultimate didn't do anything top, but did a lot of work bottom. They get 2 kills, and crucially, they get a kill on the Lone Druid. They've slowed down the farm at long last.